And we're live, ladies and gentlemen. Live.
Welcome back.
We have to do the standard.
Yeah. Been a while since we done one of these. Been a minute. But
It is. It's
always good to be back. But now we do the usual football stuff most weeks, but you have to find a bit of extra time to do these, don't you? And with the current schedule of things and whatnots in life, it's we haven't had the time over the last couple of weeks. But good to be back for the chinwag. How's yourself, Red?
Yep. Can't complain. I have to say. Well, I can. I really can. I couldn't complain about fucking anything, to be honest with you. Well, just what's the point? What's the point?
I'll tell you what I do want to get into today. That fucking horse story of yours.
It's actually gonna be quite disappointing though, because it's not majorly
no, well, you fucking built it up, Red, so
I'm happy to
I'm gonna be disappointed.
No, you built it up. I just played along.
No, you would have won saying no, we'll try for the podcast, this podcast material. So yeah, alright. Don't fucking let us down, so hold on, I'll just edit this post here for anyone who wants to jump in the chat. Throw a few fucking questions or suggestions in. Otherwise, yourself, Red, will just gallop along over any hurdles we might meet. But we'll try and keep it stable. But if Red gets out of hand, we'll rein it in.
I'm here for the sheer debauchery of everything.
I suppose you may as well
get tweet it out now.
I seen a meme, and I fucking broke my bollocks laughing when I seen it. It was what do you call it? A fucking speed camera, and was like, "Be careful if you're traveling by Anfield at the moment. They're handing out 3 points to everyone."
Yeah,
it's fucking wankers.
Yeah. I seen another one. What's it? This is Anfield's a tough place to go at the minute. Even Liverpool can't get 3 points there.
So I think that'll be about as much as we fucking discuss about football today. Beyond that,
yeah, it's
you can't even say much. Struggle without Grealish.
No, this is against Leicester. You know what I mean? Like, so I think if had you played against anybody else, we wouldn't have been too bad.
Anyway, we'll divert straight off football.
See any
of the UFC or anything?
No, I didn't actually.
See the Black Beast knocking out Curtis Blades, no?
No, I heard a lot about it, and I meant to go in and check it out, but
it was nice.
I had Jack today, so I didn't really have a lot of time to fucking.
We had fucking jack shit to do today, so I watched all the UFC this morning. Don't bother staying up. Fuck that.
Just trying to get into this chat here. Are you able to get into the chat?
Give me a look.
Because I ain't.
Live chat. Yeah. Please.
We could get in this action. Try again. Alright, I'm gonna turn up my shit out.
Oi.
Sorry about this, folks. Give me a second.
Sorry about this.
No, I can't get into the chat. Maybe I'm being shadow banned by the elite leftists who are cancel culture merchants.
I know, I wouldn't blame them for everything now.
Oh, he was there at fault for everything. Because just not letting me do it.
I'll tell you, I seen one interesting. Here's one to get into, right? We'll see, can I find it? Action isn't allowed. Yeah, it's not letting me into the live chat either. Weird. Right, let me see if I can find it. 1 sec. It was a yoke went off on Twitter, right? See. fucker. Did I delete it? May have. No, here it is, right? So Fish Amble, the new play company, right? So it's it looks like a theatre group. What? A theatre group in the city centre, right? So they've been given funding. So it's the tweet was, "We are delighted to announce a new project. Fish Amble's writing for performance workshops with whoever aims to support underrepresented voices in Irish theatre by providing the training tools to write for the stage. Deadline Sunday in March," right? And then that they added on another tweet. "Please note that this workshop is only, in capital letters, open to applicants from Black artists, artists of colour, artists from ethnic minority backgrounds, and migrant artists. You must also be a resident on the island of Ireland." Now, I went into it. Someone had dug up, what channel's name, Maria. "You receive generous annual public funding, approximately 60 grand from Culture Ireland, 9 grand from Dublin City Council, and 343,000 from the Arts Council. Why is a company that receives Irish taxpayer, ratepayer money discriminating against Indigenous Irish people?" So there's one for you. So they were offering placements on a course that pays, I think it's $350 a week to go in and study and learn theatre, writing, acting, whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? But it's only open to non-Irish, ethnic Irish people, and they receive funding.
At first, I was like, surely it's illegal to do that from the get-go. Like, there's discrimination from the get-go.
If you're on the left, and it's something that supports your agenda, but when it goes the other way, it's quite fine because the patriarchy and blah blah blah. Now they receive $500,000 in funding, but are able to completely.
But are they able? That's what I'm saying. Like, if that was reported as an illegal act, because it's discriminatory.
Of course it is.
Because like this guy are a minority, like, so like conservatives would be a minority. Does that count? Or are they literally saying, if you are a certain colour of skin, you cannot play? That's racism. How, like...
Yeah.
By a legal definition, that's racism. So I know they have created their own... racism is about power.
They would have had to put forward a plan of some sort for the funding or whatever, you know what I mean? They'd have had to lay out what the funding was going to be used for, what their role was, all, you know, in order to set up this thing. It's well known, obviously, that it was designed for, you know, bringing in ethnic, black, whatever students.
Oh no, but the only thing is, of course, they should be included. Absolutely, they should have as much.
No. So it's designed specifically for them. But what my point being, right, if that's what you're doing, all right, whatever. But if you're getting funding from the Arts Council, and the Arts Council are fully aware that it's going to be only certain people to the exclusion of other people, and those other people that you're excluding are natives of the place that they're getting the funding from, you know what I mean? It's just it's
are funding it. No, the people that are kicking out are funding it because it's their taxes are paying it.
Like, why not just let anyone go in?
That's what I mean.
And you can push it and promote it towards whatever backgrounds or groups you want, but it's open to everybody. Now, I'm not. It's not something I'm mad about. It's just something that when you read it, you're going, this is bizarre. Like, if imagine we were to run a battle league and you go, battle league open to all new entrants, we're looking to set up a workshop, blah blah blah, only white Irish need apply. Like, that'd be fucking murder.
That's what I mean. Because you know why?
But if we were to run a battle league, the majority of people who turn up will probably be white Irish youngless. But you get a couple of lads, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, whoever wants to come in, like. who it's directed towards and who it's being ran by and all will probably influence the background of the people that are coming from, but you don't have to exclude any. It's just bizarre, you know what I mean? So I was seeing it and I was like, man, that's
Listen, it's definitely I think it's definitely illegal that you can't discriminate. So if there was anybody that was in that mindset to report those sort of things, like I'm sure they wouldn't have a leg to fucking stand on, like, and they would have to retract it. Because in America, where they're getting all these stupid fucking ideas from, they're constantly having to back out this sort of sort of events and stuff that they're trying to put on because of discrimination. Like it is discrimination.
I could see the Arts Council.
There's a lot of these colleges.
You know what I mean? I could see the Arts Council because.
Well, if anyone goes above and starts reporting it.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, if anyone goes ahead and reports it, he wouldn't have like.
It was. People latched onto it. People latched onto it and were going like, "What the fuck?" And at them and asked them to explain it, and they just ignored it. There didn't seem to be any feedback on it. So people were like, absolutely going to be getting onto the head of the Arts Council, whatever their name is, and be fucking looking for answers on this, because this is completely fucking discriminatory. Like,
yeah, but they're probably like far lefties as well. They won't care. Like, they just call them all fucking far right Nazis for even objecting to it. Because again, they don't argue. Listen to me.
You have your Roderick O'Gorman types that will just call them far right nut jobs that are complaining about it, and then it'll be forgotten about. Of course, I'm aware of that.
But it's those people that are in charge of
it. In bizarro world,
that will do that.
They're allowed to discriminate on one side, and it's cool. But on the other side, it's called progression and progressiveness, and you know what I mean, equality, or what, you know, it's fucking
segregation. That's what it is. I mean, civil rights fought against segregation. Like that was the. What they're doing now was the issue with racism, that black people were separated from white people in all aspects of life. So what they're doing now is segregation. It's saying, oh, only black people can come here. So does that mean that only white people can go somewhere else? And how does that help anybody? Surely, like, diversity is that we're all working together. That would make the most sense. But the point I was going to make is, the issue is, and I think this is with most of these far lefties, there's no principle in their arguments. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's like, if you made the point to them, say, well, if it was done in the reverse, you'd be mad. So why are you doing it in the traverse? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, so what? So say it was the other way around, and that's happening, and you see the way you feel that mad about it. Yeah, well, that's what other people feel about what you're doing. So why not just not do it? Because what it does, it creates fucking, not racism, but it creates divides. It's unnecessary. And sometimes I even do think that we're living in a time now where there's kind of so little, racism and shit like that, discrimination going on, that they have to start trying to create it themselves. Like I said, there's not that many racists anymore, so they have to create them. You know what I mean? Like, so you could be not racist your entire life. You say one thing, you do one thing, and all of a sudden you're racist.
They'll bring these hate speech laws out. They're going to start ramping these up, all the hate speech. And I'd say they'd be hard pressed to find too many racial injustice fucking incidents going on, unless you're looking at what I just pointed out there, because that will be covered under the hate speech. That will be racist and discriminatory. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it seems to be that they're going to push through. It's an agenda. We know this. You go back to it's a Marxist agenda. They'll use the BLM movements and stuff like that just to promote this agenda, to get these laws in, to implement all these strategies, and then they'll just, they don't care about anyone that they use to get.
Yeah. But what is it? The Marxist agenda comes in. Unfortunately, guys, use are the force to go.
But that's what I'm saying.
Because Marxists have no time for homosexuals or blacks or.
There you go. But what's this hate speech? Like, you could be getting on about that and saying, boom, there you are, I'm going to shut down your whole program. A program that's probably been set up and designed to help people who are in a position where they need help, they need support, they need that funding, and you get it shut down through. You are the ones who wanted these rules. So, like, for argument's sake, you go to this story of the couple that saved the dog, you know what I mean? And it's a lovely, heartwarming story where dog. And then it turns out now they're under investigation for breaching the 5-kilometer rule. And this place that was set up for helping frontline staff get a break away from the front line is now probably going to get shut down and closed and all that. In this silly world that we live in, all these ninnies who, if they lived in World War II, would have been ratting out their neighbours for hiding Jews and stuff like that. These people are now, these are prominent figures at the moment. So when you have a situation like that where you're literally being racially fucking, you know what I mean, segregated or whatever you were promoting there, like myself, when I look at that, I'm not really bothered by it. It's not something like, I'm not going to do this course, so I'm not being excluded.
No, you're mad about the principle of it. That's saying, and they don't have any. That's why they're willing. That's why they're able and feel that they can do this, because there's no principle argument from that side whatsoever. It just isn't.
But that side has pushed. You know what I mean? They've pushed it to the point where they would cancel anyone who done this sort of thing, but yet they will so brazenly do this. So you have that incident with the 2 people who go and save the dog. You have people who will every day of their life at the moment break numerous fucking COVID regulations. But when they read a heartwarming story like that, the first thing they do, ring the Garda station and say, these people now, they were breaching the COVID. I know where they're staying. They're in the lodge down the road, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So, it's just all... For me, now, I wouldn't care. It's not for me to fucking ring up and complain or about that. I'm just bringing this as a story for us to discuss here. None of that would bother me in the slightest, except for the hypocrisy of it.
But that's what I'm saying. It's not the actual. It's the principle that you're annoyed about, because again, they complain about when it's done to them. You have no regard whatsoever for it. Like they just do it themselves, and not see. And then again, the perfectly logical explanation crew, they have to reinvent fucking words and meanings just so that they can have a point. And they still have a point, but that's what they're like. So when you say, as I said earlier, if that was brought to a court, they would lose, because it's racism. But what they have done is they have redefined racism to mean it's a power thing. It doesn't, by the way. If you watch this, it's nothing to do with power. There's a defined definition of what racism is, and it's nothing to do with power. They just made it so that way so they could have an argument. But the legal definition is what the courts will go by. And legally, they wouldn't have a fucking leg to stand on. They're wrong. They're wrong for doing it. But it's getting so blatant because they think, because we mean well and our heart's in the right place, you're virtue signaling little spaz. That's all they're making things fucking up.
If they were to bring in these hate speech laws that did define, what would be racism under their new terms and all that, then you could find it could be a weird situation altogether. You know what I mean? But there was another.
Yeah, but they didn't though. They just. It
was Madonna talking about taking down the patriarchy, and you're kind of going, what? You're talking about the patriarchy, this cunt. It's just it would Bill Gates or something be talking about the patriarchy or something, you know what I mean? It'd be like, hey, come on now.
The patriarchy is bollocks as well, that's another fucking argument.
You know what I mean? Like the establishment say, or the globalists. It's like her turning around saying we need to take the globalists down. It's like, you're fucking the patron saint of globalism, Madonna, you know what I mean? Which are fucking witch.
You probably back Joe Biden. You know what I mean? The most establishment president has fucking ever been.
Joe Biden coming out and saying we need to take down the globalists and the globalist agenda. You'd be like, are you fucking having me on? Yeah, but it's the type of game that they play. It's this.
Yeah, there's rules for D, but not for me. Just
talking about the whole insurrection. There was a story coming out on Twitter the other day, and it was these blue checkmark fucking lunatics talking about anyone involved in the insurrection should be treated as enemy combatants, and they would be bombed if this was Afghanistan and all, and they were basically hyping it up, and everyone in the comments was like, yeah, it's time to start treating these people as enemy combatants. Like, they're basically calling for...
But they do, though. They do treat them like enemy combatants. They have been for the past 4 fucking years. Like,
anyone who's at Capitol Hill to be bombed. And it's like, well, that's what Obama done You know what I mean? He killed American citizens with his fucking drone strikes. Like, you're actively calling for it, but you wouldn't get cancelled on
But
Twitter.
they can't though. But they can't because the insurrection was mostly peaceful. So they can't,
I mean,
because it was mostly peaceful.
Of course.
So no, but by their definition, there was hundreds of people inside the building, but there was thousands that didn't partake. It was mostly peaceful. Isn't that the general saying? So they no principle.
Into the building, the police let half of them in. It's just I don't even want to get into that because again, that's like what the Reichstag used their little false flag attack to bring in all their fucking stuff. It's not even a false flag. It was so fake. It was so staged looking. And then it's used to set up this impeachment that's a complete sham. It's the whole thing is just a show. Everybody knows it's been debunked, denied, whatever the case may be. But the mainstream will just carry along saying insurrection, and then they'll make rules and regulations off the back of it. They'll attack people. They'll use it to take down anyone who is against their agenda. And you have cunts like that coming out and openly calling for anyone involved in it to be bombed and murdered. But yet they won't be taken down off Twitter for violent and aggressive tweets, or you know what I mean?
Won't, but the bias is not deniable. It's only the people who are on that side will deny that there's, and they say, oh yeah, there is bias for conservatives. Like I had this argument today with some fella, and he kept talking about how he's like Katie Hopkins and what's your man Tommy Robinson, is it?
Yeah.
Tommy Robinson. Those two like fucking being said to shit. I was like, yeah, but they're both banned. Yeah, but it took years for them to be banned. I said, yeah, but they're both banned. Like they are banned. They're gone. Like they've both been deplatformed. So you're using right wing people, but every right wing person he named was banned. But he was saying, like, oh yeah, but it took years. And I was like, okay, but there's still more far lefties saying this outlandish shit that aren't banned. And won't be banned.
Yeah, I never will be.
That won't be banned, yeah. Like, for instance, they take the Gina Guerrero. That's the name, isn't it?
Yeah. You won off Mandalorian.
So she came out and says, you know, basically treating your political rivals. That's how the Nazis did it. So she got deplatformed for making that sort of thing and pissing all over the Nazi and what happened to the Jews. That's what I mean, right? But for 4 years, Trump supporters have been called Nazis. That's taken away what happened to the Jews. So every single person who called a Trump supporter a Nazi, because they're clearly not. Whether you agree with them or not, they're clearly not Nazis. The Nazis disbanded in fucking, what was it, 1945 or something like that. Like, so they're not actual Nazis. But you have carte blanche to use that word because you disagree with them politically, even though, like, if you really look at it, the left are more fucking have more Nazi characteristics than Trump supporters do. By the fact that they're banning fucking difference of opinion, they're banning wrong thing. You know what I mean? Like they're taking down platforms, because that's another annoying thing about them. When people are giving out about the deplatforming and the cancel culture, what were they saying? Go get your own. It's a private business. Go get your own site. So they're like, all right, they went and got their own site, Parler, and they fucking deplatformed that. It's all about this.
Right? And here's the interesting one with Parler, right? They tried to say that Parler was used to incite violence on Insurrection Day, yeah? When it turns out that Parler were actually actively and could prove they were taking down anyone who was writing about the insurrection or whatever, or gathering or doing it at that protest. And it all came from Facebook. It was all organised on Facebook. But they took down Parler.
Yeah.
Because all the dangerous right-wingers are on. Come on. Anyone who can't see it at this stage, this is where
and the thing about it as well is that the fact that Trump got acquitted. Wow.
Well, they're getting it. Where I'm at with it all is now, it's all bollocks. I don't really like paying attention to it all, but man, the left.
No, but can I say
danger, like.
About the Gina.
Yeah.
I said about the Gina Guerrero part, right? So anyway, so she said what she says. She was disbanded. Now, There was a Disney writer here. I actually have the quote here. 2 seconds. I'll get it. Essentially, what he was saying was hashtag MAGA kids, go jump into a wood chipper head first.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah. Now, the thing is...
They're on there. Disney had no issue with that whatsoever.
No. Why would they?
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, she's going to sue them. I've seen it, yeah. She's going to sue them and make bank. And she's been picked up to do other stuff. You know what I mean? So she done it the right way, and it's the way.
I've seen something.
You should never, ever.
Sorry, did the lead actor leave as well?
Who?
The lead actor in that quit as well, I think.
Which the main fella in Mandalorian? What's his name? The guy that was in Narcos. What's his foot? Did he quit as well? Did he?
I think he. I don't quote me now. I just seen something. I was scrolling past. It was actually not long before we come on here, so I had no time to actually sit down.
I didn't hear it. I hadn't heard it.
I think basically the gist was. But I think he had put something up already very similar to that.
Well, like he was in.
And because he's a lefty,
and all, like,
he's left alone.
He's the new golden child at the moment, so I can't imagine it being him, but maybe it is, like. But like the thing is, she's gonna sue them.
Well, yeah, no. So I think he. Yeah, but they just pay. They just pay out. They just settle, like.
Oh yeah. No, but then
she'll be all right. She'll make bank, but
yeah, that will prove that she was right, and everyone who fucking wanted her cancelled was wrong. But the best thing she could have done was the fact that she never backed down to them. Never backed down to them. You can't admit you were wrong. You can't say sorry. They are feverish fucking evil bastards, and they get off on getting one over on you. And as long as you don't let them get that one over on you, even if they try and destroy it, even if they succeed in destroying you, you just don't let them. You can't let them get that win, like. That's all they fucking play for. And when they know they're not getting anywhere with you, they leave you alone, like. But it's a horrible existence, like. The people
there's a few good examples of that. Ben Shapiro's a good Ben Shapiro would be a good example of that, not Ben, Jordan Peterson, Joe Rogan. And there's some other girl, actually. There was some other girl, I can't think of her name off the top of my head, but she was fired from her. They basically, she's a conservative, and they basically, she put up tweets, they got her banned, or got her fired from, they doxed her and got her fired from her job. So what she did was, she went and created her own company. And so she now has like 3 companies, and they're still trying, like, they're basically ringing her to have her fired. And that's what she's putting out, saying, I'll say what I want, you can't cancel me because you can't have me fired anymore.
They'll start going after whatever.
I'm the boss now.
Yeah, but whatever business she's involved in, they'll go after, or suppliers and fucking people she works with. They're rabid dogs they are. They're fucking animals, like. The cheek of them. Like, they even went that, and I wouldn't be a fan of it.
But the contrary are. Well, no, the contrary is that what they're doing is, and the Goya Beans thing in America is a great example of this, that when they do come after certain places and try to ban them, that the reaction is stronger and the businesses do even better. Because as many far lefty fucking purple-haired nut jobs out there, there's many more sensible people that are kind of going like, you're being ridiculous. You're going to try and cancel this guy. We're actually going to I don't even like Goya Beans, but I'm going to buy $20 worth of Goya Beans. And all because he came out and says Trump is doing a great job with the economy. Yeah. And he's Mexican. And how dare a Mexican like Donald Trump, like. So they went after him, and he fucking doing the best business he's ever done in his life, because there was a reaction to their
We're seeing videos of people who were being attacked by all these crazy Karens and all, and their GoFundMes, like, they were getting 50 and 60 grand and all on the GoFundMes, weren't they? Like, they were trying to get people sacked from their jobs and all, like. But that's just the nature of these people. Like, if you need to get into it, if you need to rally around these gangs of bullies online, you need to really have a look at yourself and kind of evaluate where the fuck your life is, you know what I mean? Like, if you're on that side and that side is about bullying people or telling people that fucking, well, I hope your granny dies, or I hope if you get COVID, you won't get treatment, or blah. If you're one of those people that will jump to those sort of comments or that sort of thing, looking to get people shut down because they're dangerous rhetoric or they're anti-vax or whatever it might be, you need to fucking reevaluate your life. Like, you've become those people during World War II who were ratting on people housing fucking their Jewish neighbours and all to try and stop them being sent to
Oh, that's
concentration.
exactly what they are. That is exactly what they are.
What I'd like to see is, you see that story, that lovely heartwarming story of the fucking couple that saved that dog up the mountains or whatever. I would look that there needs to be a list for these snitches. Name and shame them. And we'll fucking remember. And when the time comes, every one of you who are snitching, and every one of you who are fucking, ratting on someone for going more than 5K, or having 2 people in the house, or, at the wake of their fucking parents and having a few people in the gaff or whatever. This needs to be remembered. When the time comes, when this all blows over, if it ever does, that's it. You're outlawed. Nobody, nothing to do with you. You know what I mean? This needs to start happening to these people. There has to be repercussions for it. You can't just be.
But you don't know. It's all confidential, though. It's all confidential, so you never know who they are.
You need to. All these people are fucking. You see the comments they make and all. People, like, everything's online now anyway. You can be sure the cunt who done it has a fucking post up on Facebook about it, like, proud of it.
Ah, yeah. Those people on Facebook, like, I know a lot of them on my page.
Incident in particular, I'm saying these people, they need to be remembered.
I understand you, but the way you're saying they're ringing the guard on people having a wake and all, it's confidential. You can't. But yeah, the people online, like, as I've noted, a lot of people that have been, basically pro this. It's just out of ignorance, because they're like, well, if you all just do it, it'll be over. And it's like, they keep changing the fucking goalposts. It's like, but if you're too stupid to know that, fine. Have you at least, but just keep quiet, because
these restrictions now until the hospital waiting lists come down. It's like, you caused all this. Now we all have to stay indoors until you get your hospital list down. Sure, it was 2 weeks.
But again, who agreed to all this? Who agreed? That's what it should be. Yeah.
And I didn't really want to get into COVID stuff here, but it's too hard not to get into it at the moment. With everything going on in Ireland, it's too hard not to get into it. But we're in a weird situation here in Ireland where you're starting to see even the cunts who were glorified lockdown fucking fanatics are starting to say now, here, this is getting a bit much.
Fuck them.
But
it was getting a bit much. It was getting a bit much in bleeding April.
I'm not,
do you know what I mean?
I'm not hailing them in any form or fashion. They are wankers of the highest order. I hope we stay in lockdown forever, because they will be the first ones to break if that's the case. You know what I mean? If you've had enough now, I had enough back in fucking March of last year. You have enough now. You've been begging for these lockdowns, you cunt. You think it's gone too far now. I hope it goes another 2 years and you crack. If you want to, you know what I mean? You want to go down that road. But when it comes to people online and keeping tagged, I've just removed everyone. My list of people on my fucking Facebook and social media has got so small, and it's great. I've weeded out all the retards and all the dum-dums.
No, I don't, because it's good to see what the retards are thinking.
Like now they're thinking we need to stop the lockdowns. Like, use are retards, like, you fucking retards.
No, there's still enough people that are committed. They're still committed to the lie. That's all there is. I think they've been too vocal, too outspoken, that they painted themselves into the corner, and now they're just refusing to look. Like, I mean, what's it? So fucking. They're talking about now wearing 2 or 3 masks, which would, can I just say, prove that people who said that masks don't work, that's proof. Because if masks work, just have the 1 mask. They're even saying now 2 and 3. Right? So you've lost that argument. And now I'm seeing Bill Gates come out saying that we need 3 vaccines now. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then it's like, and then there's, I seen the yoke as well, that certain jobs are saying you won't be able to get a job here unless you have a vaccine.
You know what? Again, take names, take lists. These places shall be boycotted.
But
you know what I mean?
yeah, but the only thing is though, like the only problem is though, like most people that will go, I don't care, I'm getting the vaccine. So won't they don't see the bigger picture. They don't see why that's a bad thing. Like they can't.
Yeah,
They're so one-dimensional.
There's a meme going around, and it's like, you're having to coerce young, healthy people into getting a vaccine should tell you everything you need to know about the vaccine. You know what I mean? And you're trying to, like, you're still getting people in going, what do you mean by that? That's not this. What you talking, this MMR? Are you saying there's no vaccine? It's like, no, that's not. This thing, what's going on right now is what's being discussed. And if you're having to coerce healthy people and move on down the line to kids, people who will never be sick of this, like the numbers are there. It's going to be staggering when the yearly fucking death figures come out, and it's the lowest it's been in 6 years, because that's what it's trending towards. Where's all these excess pandemic deaths? You just re-fucking zoned. You took all these deaths from over here and you put them over there, and they're still less. And you can't use the fact that we were locked down for the whole year as an excuse for why less people died this year than they did in the last 6 years. I can't wait to hear what the government had to say about it. They'll just ignore it.
They don't care. But the thing is, the government can say whatever they want because what these people are doing is they disagree. But they go, that doesn't make any sense. But yeah, look at your man over there talking to his neighbour in the garden. Oh, I mean the garden.
Retarded isn't the word for it. Like I'm done with them all. You know what I mean? That's why not delete. Just remove them. I'm like, I don't need to hear what you have to say. You're a dum-dum. When it comes time to say no, it's time to end the lockdown and all, because that's what the mainstream media is saying. You just jump on board with that as well, as if you were always fucking on the right side of it. You know what I mean? So, but I have seen there have been a lot of murmurings of businesses and that are saying, I don't care now. I've had enough. We've met every fucking guideline that was necessary. We're some of the safest, fucking implemented all the safety rules, blah, blah, blah. We're opening up our business. So the next week or two will be interesting in that sense when it comes to, the March 5th or whatever, when the lockdown was supposed to end. If a few businesses do start opening up again, what the reaction will be. I know there's a big march in town next week on Saturday, I think, Stephen's Green. So a lot of people are going to try and get into that by the looks of it. So I don't know. Maybe I still think the Irish are beaten. They've been beaten down.
Oh yeah, no, they are. Like as most, as I'm saying, like as you're saying, I've definitely seen a lot more people now. Like, oh, this is ridiculous, and they're sharing like, I support businesses that want to open now. And I was like, well, last week you didn't.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and now it's like you come out with like, it's like when I put that status up. It's another 6 weeks, another 9 weeks, and everyone's going, oh my God, I can't believe it now, we have to wait till May. It's like, it's not going to be May either. Before May comes in, it's going to be pushed back again. And every time you're surprised, I'm surprised you're surprised.
Yeah, a week or two into this lockdown, Leo comes out and says it's going to be next Christmas. There's going to be no...
Yeah.
Told you all along what they're planning. It will end when you decide it ends. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then RTE aren't like, they're talking all things COVID. They're not talking about Italy, where 50,000 restaurants and pubs just says fuck it and opened up, and the government just went, all right, he's going to open up then. Poland, I think, was 20,000 people.
They started finding people, and people just tore the fines up and said, I don't care, like, whatever, fine me. You will not pay me bills, like, which is all you do over here.
Yeah, but now like the government have pulled back on the guidelines now.
They had to
in Poland
because they look like mugs. You can't beat the people, like, unless the people decide.
Madrid, I think Madrid the other day, yesterday, I think it was the day or yesterday, I think it was. They had, like, I'd say, over 1 million people in the fucking square protesting the lockdown. So it's happening. It is kind of happening. But as I say, we have to remember those points that were fucking.
There's media blackout in Ireland, and all the dum-dums who watch fucking RTE, and that's where they get their news from, and don't believe anything else. They won't be told about it. They won't fucking know the revolution is happening because it won't be televised to them. But they're dum-dums. you know what I mean? And in Ireland, we're the most docile nation, and we've got one of the harshest restrictions. And if you look at the numbers are like, wait till all these fucking nursing home you know what I mean? Wait till like that's all been brushed under the carpet and been kept quiet. When this shit goes down, there's gonna be fucking heads rolling. Like Donnelly's already
There's
out
not.
talking.
That's the thing. No.
Donnelly's out talking today. You had to get fencing and all put up around his gaff and extra security and all. They know what's coming for them when these numbers come out. They know when these stories come out about the nursing home. I'm telling you, Red, waiting people hear it. Like you're talking about nursing homes that had 50 residents in it. For a year, they only had one death. And within a week of getting the vaccine, had 15, 16. Some of them had 21 deaths out of 50 people. And they're trying to say it was COVID.
But people like don't care.
All I'm saying,
people don't care. That's the problem.
When the story gets released and becomes mainstream, people will care because they'll be told no. But when it comes out, heads will roll. Maybe not far enough, and maybe not enough for them, but there will be some repercussion for it. You know what I mean? That's kind of.
I don't think so.
Maybe not. Maybe Ireland are so fucking docile that they'll allow their fucking babies to be born and buried, and their mothers to be fucking murdered in fucking nursing home facilities. You know what I mean? Maybe they will, and maybe they'll be begging for it. And maybe they sent them to their fucking deaths. It wouldn't surprise me either.
But you know, that's when they won't. They'll always. It's like when you're hitting them with the reality. How they're reacting to all the reality now is how they react to. Like you see how they look at the nursing homes or the mother and baby homes. Like you see how they reacted that when the government came out and said it was your fault. They just went, no, it's not. No heads rolled. There's no major backlash. Like when they're just not like the Irish people are just so docile that don't get me wrong, they'll have a good rant about it and they'll in their gas they'll be going, this is fucking stupid.
I think when it does kick up, if some sort of movement kicks up against them, it won't stop. You know what I mean? Like you seen with the water shit. Not enough got involved, but enough people who were willing to fucking had enough got involved. And it was fucking the L ones and all. The L ones, mind you, that are fucking in nursing homes now being fucking exterminated, like. But still, they were the last ones that had the balls about them. You just think if some sort, well, no, I don't think actually, because I don't think fucking anything's going to happen. People are going to fucking beg for their freedom. Look, I've seen people making look at people over in Australia now having a great time at fucking, what was it, some event or something, people were at, whatever. And it's like, yeah, but they went through a police military dictatorship where they'll just call 5-day fucking sporadic lockdowns where you're not allowed outside your door. They locked them up for fucking several months, and they're also in their summer. So like the fucking flu season or whatever it is over. So yeah, they had to go through a military dictatorship and still live under that just to have a little bit of freedom back. So that's what is that what you want over here? A communist fucking.
But it is though. That's what people want though. That's what people want over here. It's what's so frustrating. That's what people want.
So good. I'll take another 9 weeks of fucking lockdown. I'll do everything. I'm so virtuous. Now I've rolled up my sleeve. I've got my vaccine now. Please give me some freedoms back. Just let me go fucking to a pub for a month or two. You know, this is the fucking ninnies that you're dealing with. You know what I mean? You see them. They're fucking.
And it's the vast majority, and that's the fucking problem.
If their kids were fucking masks over them, they were masks over them, terrified everywhere. These are fucking cowards, like. That's all you are. Terrified ninnies walking around, like. Look out there. What fucking pandemic? What pandemic are you talking about? Where is it? I still haven't seen it. You know what I mean?
And it's been what? Almost a year. Surely all those anti-maskers should be dead by now.
You just have to go into the hospitals. You don't appreciate how hard they're working. Oh, well, they're back out doing that Jerusalem fucking dances, aren't they? No bleeding bother to them.
But you can't.
I tell you, there's fucking cunts out there who used to be doing fucking TV shows. They're falling over themselves for the work trying to get fucking, we'll shoot your fucking dance in the bleeding hospital for you. No problem, love. Try and get a few quid, like. Fucking cunts everywhere doing these dances now, like, and you're telling me they're under pressure now. Fuck off. waiting list through the roof. Like, Sammy was telling me she was coming to the fucking hospital for something. They told her she's on a virtual waiting list for over a year, like. Just to go in and see I'm not even to go in and see a doctor, just for you to fucking video call me, like. Fuck off. Now the people talking that are in now, like, there's 30 nurses standing around scratching the holes and all, like. Like, I'm not denying they do their bits and bobs or whatever, but we're not in a fucking pandemic, like. Don't give me that. Nothing even close.
And besides, we were in a trolley pandemic about 2 years ago.
That was when things were bad.
You know what I mean? And you actually were fucking walking really hard then.
Fucking jolly up at the moment, you know what I mean? Through January, the worst we've been hit through January. And there was a quarter of the fucking, probably way less even. I'm probably over-exaggerating by saying a quarter of the people on trolleys. There was nobody on trolleys. The capacity of hospitals weren't even maxed out, you know what I mean? It's fucking silly.
That's because of lockdowns, Tara. God, so stupid.
You get yourself to a point where you're like, you know what? This isn't the world I came into. Like, what the fuck has happened? I still go around and see people in masks, and I'm still fucking back.
And did you see the video? Did you see the video going around the miracle and all?
No.
Before the TV show the other day.
Before them eating all, hugging.
So they're all standing in a circle, hugging, kissing, blah 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 blah, and then. And all of a sudden, like, we're going, everyone masks on.
Live and five.
And then there's another one where she sat down and she, I had to run over and get a mask. You are?
Well, come here, that was the same. Remember Trump's fucking press conferences when they were all asking, why aren't you wearing your mask? Why aren't you wearing your mask? And then he'd get up and walk out of the press conference and the cameras are supposedly turned off and every one of them masks off, over yapping to each other, all the reporters, like.
Yeah.
We've known all along. They're not worried by it. They're not worried. They're smiling and laughing every time they're on camera. They're swindling. The swindling.
Well, RTE, as I said about, it's what I said about the fucking. That's the most telling thing about the RTE party that they had during the height of the lockdown. They're not afraid of it. They're not. If they were, they wouldn't have had it.
Yeah.
And I know because I've had saying this, and can I just say full disclosure? I don't care that RTE had their party. I think they should. I just think everyone should. The difference is they're telling everyone, this is a deadly virus. What?
That goes back to what the story I was telling you earlier about the discrimination thing. It's not that it bothers me. The Golfgate incident doesn't bother me in the slightest. It's the hypocrisy of it all. That's all. Yeah. These same cunts in RTE are on the news day after day, ramping up the fucking fear, have people terrified. You know them, I know them, family, friends and all that. Like, the amount of elves on my Mars Road that you seen them last year and you see them this year, they've aged 10, 15 years. There's 3 people on my Mars Road, or two of them in hospital at the moment, and one out for the diet on the road. And you know what I mean? In the lockdown, a lot of people struggling, all fucking like me mate having a fucking heart attack and all. You know what I mean? They're putting out this rhetoric day after day: fear, 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 live in fear, fear your neighbours, everyone's a danger, you're in danger, your fucking family's a danger, your kid fucking hugging your grandparent is a danger, and you could be the one who killed somebody and blah blah blah. And then they're having a little fucking a shandy with whatever, you know what I mean? Their cocktails and their martinis and all. They're not bothered by it
because they're not afraid. Yeah. That's the most telling thing about it.
That they had their fucking party. I care that they're out every night telling people this, and then they're doing that. That's what I care about.
No. What annoys me is that they're telling everyone to be afraid of this deadly virus, but they're not afraid of the deadly virus. It's not about the actions. It's about the thoughts behind it. So that's what I'm saying. That's what's for me, that's the most frustrating thing. And people don't seem to be kind of arguing that point or talking that point and not focusing on that. That's the most important point for me. Not what they did or the actions of what they did. It's the thought process behind it. Like most of these RTE focus, they're all in the between 50 to fucking 60. That kind of age bracket. So a lot of them will be grandmothers or parents, or they have fucking this, or their parents will still be alive. And you're telling us not to do this because this potentially deadly virus. Yeah, you're not afraid of this potentially deadly virus, because if you were, it would have never happened. It would have never happened if you were as afraid as the people on the road are. That would have, they wouldn't, like those people that are, those court and twitchers, and the people that are fucking only leaving the gaffs to go for the bleeding, the shopping and back home. They wouldn't go to a party like that because that's how afraid they are. Why are you not that afraid, RTE? Why? That's the most telling thing. You are the ones in the know, and you're not afraid.
It would be fines and the police and shit like that. You know what I mean? That'd be the other people, the things that people have fear in. But the likes of RTE and the politicians, they don't have to worry about that, because if they get caught doing it, they just come out, apologise, and fucking move on and forget about it. You know what I mean? I seen a UK.
My cat's not working. Oh, is yours working? Try yours again there.
Live chat.
The live chat.
This action isn't allowed. They're shutting us down, Red. They're shutting us down. I suppose at some stage we're going to move over onto.
That's big. Stupid.
Could set up a fucking Telegram or something like that for live chat if we need to going forward. Like if YouTube start fucking with us, you know what I mean? But I was listening to a guy on Sky News. Now he was an MP of some sort in the UK. Can't remember his name. But he was talking about, they need to end the lockdown, blah blah blah. And your one on Sky News kind of, was like, oh, well, it could be dangerous, blah. And he fucking chewed her. Like, yous are the ones pushing this. This isn't dangerous.
I actually seen that one.
And yeah. And it was interesting to see him, because he started having a go at, like, your man Hancock and all, saying, like, claiming they're going to give 10 years to people who are going on holidays and all that. And he's like, are you that moronic, like, that you want to lock people up for going on holidays, give them longer stints than they get for committing serious violent crimes? Like, yous are morons, like. And he let your one have it. It was an interesting take on it. Now, he wasn't full, like, this is all bollocks, it's a whole scam. He was still, even as part of their agenda, was like, this is ridiculous. This has gone on too far. There's not enough evidence to support what's being done. The lockdowns are way too severe, and there's no evidence to suggest that they're making any impact in bringing down numbers or saving lives. In fact, they're causing way more harm by the evidence, by the research. So when you have even people that are part of that playbook that are like, this is fucking nonsense, you know what I mean? Like, how? Again, I always go back to this fucking same point, is like, how, with all the evidence out there, with the fucking internet at your fingertips, how can you still believe that this is all just, no, this is saving lives? Leo just wants to save our lives. Tony Houlihan, the cervical scandal man, just wants to save our lives. The same man who came out and said, take the swine flu vaccine, it's safe, and hundreds of kids and people are bringing them to court at the moment and getting paid out because they knew that the vaccine that they were pushing, before they even started pushing it, was already being removed from shelves in the US because of the dangers it posed. And he knew this. And he still went on national TV and told everyone in Ireland this was a safe vaccine and you should take it to save lives. Same guys, same people. Trust them now. You know what I mean? If you still believe all this nonsense now, you deserve your fate. You know what I mean? You deserve it. You deserve it. Can't have any sympathy for you. You can't complain now.
Well, I mean, I find it hard to have sympathy for the restaurant owners and the pub owners. I do. I find it hard to have sympathy for them, because
when it comes to businesses, unless everyone's in it together, you're kind of fucked.
But that's what I mean.
You open up and you're already struggling as it is, and then you get hit with all these fines, and your business gets ruined because all these twitchers get on Facebook and start attacking you. You know what I mean? Like, I can kind of understand that you have staff. If anything happened to someone, you'd be liable. You know, all this sort of shit. Like,
no, but you see that with that, like, if they all just say, because the Vintner Association is in bed with the government and they're like the union, they're useless. Like, so it's like, just all get together and say, right, pick a day and say, right, on this day, every single one of us open up. If you don't open up, there'll be no more trading with you, and they'll be fucking, and do it nationally, to the point like what they did in Italy, because they did it in Italy and it worked. They could have done it here and they didn't. They went to the point of,
where's the wave in deaths in Italy because of it? There is none.
That's what I mean. This is what I'm saying. Like, so they could have done it. They could have done this when they were calling all this bullshit in June, and for the whole time allowed their bills to shoot up, and they have put themselves in this position as much as the government has. It's hard to feel.
Did you not see the fucking insurance thing that's come out now? They're all going to get their money, like. They're all going to make bank off it. They'll shut down their business. It was only
certain groups, though, wasn't it?
11,000 premises are on 11,000 or 1,100 premises or something at the moment. So 1,100 premises, yeah. It was one group that owned 4 pubs, took the court action and won. And now everyone who has that same policy with FBD are going to bring that case before the court. You know what I mean? Like the judge basically said, yeah, you're liable, like you have a fucking pandemic pleading clause in it or whatever. You know what I mean? He's agreed to it, and they were like, no, well, we never agreed that it'd be blah blah. And it was like, yeah, you did. That's what the paperwork says. You're fucked. You know what I mean? So, no, the vinters are all getting that dollar now. You know what I mean? So they're going, well, we've been closed.
Yeah, but again,
cool story. You're gonna owe me about on sales over the last 5 years or whatever. You're gonna owe me fucking X amount for every pub I own. You know what I mean? Missed salaries, missed earnings, blah blah blah. They're gonna get, you know, they'll get the money, like. We'll pay for it now. Your car insurance, my car insurance will all go up to pay for it now, but there you have it. So the vinters.
That one's going up anyway after the horse incident.
The vinters have probably been sitting on this court case knowing that, well, if we go against the grain here, they'll just fuck us over. So we just stay sure, follow all the guidelines to a T, and we'll get all our money back. Because, you know, so that's what's going to happen to them. Everything that they've lost, like for every pub that say would earn 20 grand a week, they're going to get 20. That's what they're going to get. For every week they've been closed, they'll get 20 grand if that's what their average earnings are. You know what I mean? That's what they
won't, though, because they'll come to the point where there'll be too much money that it won't happen. Like, you know what I mean?
Agree a settlement, so it might be a matter of, right, well, over the year you've been closed, you would have made 2 million. We'll give you 1,200 or something, or 1.2 million or whatever. You know what I mean? But they had to be paid out because they paid their insurance. They paid up their insurance. They're covered for it. The judge has said, boom.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, though, they're so complicit and passive. What are you going to do if you don't get it?
As to why. That's all I'm saying. As to why.
It's case of. No, but it's like, what are you going to do if I don't give it to you? Sit back for another 6 months and cry about it and put a post talking about it. And what?
Especially these groups probably aren't crying. And the other thing you probably have is the likes of hotels and shit like that. They're probably all these groups are probably either looking to buy up all the other hotels on the cheap if they all go bunk, or they're sitting back waiting to see will they get the quarantine contract from the government. So people who have to quarantine have to go into their hotels and they get a big contract from the government.
No. The point I'm making is, though, the government would have no fear in them. It's like, shut up, what are you going to do? We told you what to do and you shut up and did it. And now you want money, you're not getting it. And what?
Yeah, but if they had just said, fuck your guidelines, I'm opening up my business, that's what would have happened to them. They would have been like, no, you're closing down and you're not getting your fucking payout. But because they've played ball all along, it'd be like, now here's your sweetener.
Yeah, but they're not going to get the sweetener. That's the point. Like.
Oh, no, they'll get it.
They're not going to get it.
Oh, they will get it.
They won't.
The insurance companies have to pay out. They had to pay out in the UK. They had to pay out something like 400 or 500 million or something. FBD did. Now, FBD will probably just pull out of Ireland or something, but they have to pay it out.
That's what I mean. Because they're not like, the insurance companies aren't even regulated over here. Like.
But so, they're court. They'll have to pay it.
Yeah, but you know what the courts are like and how corrupt and fucked they are.
They'll have to pay it.
I don't think they will. We'll see.
The four bars that brought them, they got their judgment. They're gonna get paid out. Like they've been ordered to pay it. FBD will have to pay it. Like
I understand that.
Yeah,
I understand that. What are you gonna do? Lock FBD up, like?
Oh, well, you fucking if they refuse to pay it, there's certain fucking rules of law. Like, obviously, I don't know. Yeah, no, they'll have to pay it. Like that.
Dennis O'Brien, anybody? Dennis O'Brien, fucking your man Jerome, locked up, out and all.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
but he had to come to an agreement. So they set up the CAB and they set up NAMA and all. They took all the possession of all this stuff and then gave it back to them. Of course, there's corruption there. And this is what they'll probably do is they'll probably pay out all these vinters and then they'll take all their property because they foreclosed or they can't afford to pay their rent or whatever's happened. And they'll fucking sell it off back to all these people, all their buddies. Dennis O'Brien will probably own half the pubs in Ireland or something. Or the likes of the Wetherspoons and all buying up all the shit. You know what I mean? Like, of course, yeah. But what I'm saying is the vinters themselves, they're not thinking about their staff and saying, you know, people out of work, blah, blah, blah. They're sitting back going, no, I'm not rocking the boat because I'm going to get all my lost earnings back from the insurance because of this court order.
Well, I personally don't think they will, though. Court orders are being defied.
They'll take their money, they'll sell their fucking premises up in the cheap and bounce. You know what I mean? And all the staff will be left on fucking social welfare payments, won't see a penny of it. You know what I mean? So it's another big screw job. And then, like I say, me and you, our car insurance goes through the roof, even though we haven't been allowed to drive more than 5 kilometres for the last 6 months. And it's a nice merry-go-round and it's a circle jerk for fucking everyone that's in the know.
Yep, and the small man loses again. That's the thing.
The live chat is active there now for anyone who wants to jump in. Better late than never, as they say. So, anything else, Red? It's been a while since we've had one of these rants, didn't it? Because normally, I don't know people, not that we have much of a format for these things, but when we were doing them on the fairly regular, you know, you'd be putting news stories aside and shit like that and saying, right, on fucking Friday when we do the bleeding podcast, I'm going to talk about this, and this. There's that much fucking shit going on now. There's no point, you'd be here all day, you know what I mean? You wouldn't even get through most of them.
Yeah, well, did you see, because I'm bringing this up because you brought this up in one of the earlier podcasts, one of the first ones I think it was, the Uyghur Muslims in China.
Yeah.
But what's going on over there about how they're being treated basically modern day concentration camps. And Joe Biden was asked to condemn it and he wouldn't because of cultural differences.
The same way you wouldn't condemn
imagine
the
Trump did
riots.
That. Yeah, imagine Trump did that. Yeah, no, but not even wrote that. Like, but just imagine Trump did that. Like, well, the irony of it is actually now that because if Trump did call them out on it, they'd go after him for calling them out on it. If he didn't call them out on it, they'd go after him for not calling them out on it. So, like, but the way Biden just gets left alone, so much
have
shit,
human rights violations going on where they are enslaving a whole fucking thousands of people.
Religion,
like they're fucking
on religious basis,
they're harvesting their organs. They're fucking selling their hair on the black market. They're performing experiments on them. They're using them as slave labor. And Joe Biden thinks it's just cultural. Forced
sterilization. Forced abortions.
What they call the reprogramming centers, where they're reprogramming them from their heretic fucking beliefs into believing that the Chinese state is.
Well, they had them in there. They're kind of bringing them into America now as well, though. Remember that girl that was in the park that with the black fella that fucking was like a board watcher or something like that, and she ended up calling the police. She avoided jail so she could go to a therapy.
Yeah, she went through a
It's fucking like that's it's
called a reprogramming.
Something therapy.
Well, but they call it reprogramming, a fucking some sort of reprogramming fucking seminar or something like that. Can't remember what it was, like a rethink certain. Yeah, so you have that there, but yeah, you have basically Joe Biden saying that it's just a cultural difference, rather than condemning fucking human rights violations that you couldn't even imagine. But it's just a cultural difference.
But what about the Iraq wars and the fucking and all this, like where they were going in to bring in the Western civilized culture to these places because of their barbaric and outdated laws and the beheadings and shit like that and all, and the fucking
customs and all, yeah.
But surely all that time it was cultural difference because Joe Biden was involved in all these wars. He's been around a long time, like so. It's a bit mad
it's
now
gas
that
trying to see them because let's be honest, right? You kind of miss Trump being there because now I'm not really paying attention. I don't care. Joe Biden is a bumbling Alzheimer's infested idiot. He's a puppet.
I know. I'm loving it. I'm watching it all because. No, but I'm watching it all because it's showing the absolute.
But you still see people people. You're reading them defending, like him, not condemning human rights violations, and the absolute horseshit that they're coming out with and trying to defend them. It's he's making mistakes while he's talking, and they're defending it, saying, "Oh, you know what he meant, you know what the context." But then when Trump was talking about something, he fumbled over and he didn't contextualize exactly what he was saying. It was like, "No, he's telling you to go and take drain fluid and kill yourself. Like he's telling you to inject fucking." And it's like,
that's what I mean. But that's why I'm watching it. I'm watching it because his first few months, his first month or so, has been an absolute shit show.
Oh, stop.
And
his press
everyone, that's what I'm saying. This way I'm saying. Yeah, she's useless. But it proved me I love it because it proved me right. As I said, I'm not pro-Trump. I'm anti-Trump because you are all dickheads.
Although it proves you right.
Can I just get this out here? Let me get this out here. No, but and I'll tell you why. Because you were acting like the reason that you were going against Trump wasn't solely based on the fact that it was Trump. It was the actions behind it. But here's Joe Biden doing similar actions and you aren't focused on them actions anymore. Why? Because it's not Donald Trump doing it. You've blown your cover. I don't take any of you seriously. These are arseholes. Every fucking one. What you say about Trump, that's simple. And he's approving it. By not being consistent and going after Biden the same way he's went after Trump, by not having that consistency, he's approved that it was all bullshit. It was all bullshit. All of it. All your criticisms was just a personal attack rather than a principled attack. He's
in a sitting room and he's pretending to fucking crawl around like a monkey, and he has Joe Biden on the background talking about how people in minority communities aren't able to access how to get their vaccines online and stuff like that. Basically saying that minorities don't know how to use computers and shit like that. And it's like it's this great little parody that your man doing because he's pretending to go around and how do we open the laptop and it needs to be mocked like that. It needs to be mocked because that's how silly it is. This guy is one of the most racist pieces of shit on the planet, yet they've rallied their whole movement behind him, and they call Trump racist, who was literally one of the presidents who like brought more jobs to ethnic minorities. Actually spoke highly of, you know what I mean? Like it's just like this double think. The racist guy.
And the thing about Biden as well is that's the second time Biden said something like that. Because remember he said something like I believe that poor kids and blah 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 are just the same as white kids. Do you know what I mean? Like so he's made these fucking gaffs and shit before. And that's the same.
Who created a society where minorities were more inclined to be sent to prison because of his Prison Reform Act and all. You know what I mean? Yeah. But yet they're the people who supposedly supported him getting into power. Like, it's just, again, bizarro world. You couldn't make it up. What it's like we're in an alternate reality at the moment. That's what it kind of feels like.
Yeah, the world's gone fucking mad.
Which I've actually a good documentary I'll send on to you, The Glitch in the Matrix. It's all like on simulation theory and all, but like it's where we're getting to if you're listening to the likes of Elon Musk and what's that other fella, the mathematician who was beyond Joe Rogan and that. That's where they're going with that thinking simulation theory. What?
That's Stephen Carroll now. He's a physicist, I think.
No, well, you've the likes of your man Lex Friedman now, but there's another one. There's another lad, I can't remember his name. Him and his brother. He's a physicist, and the other one's a mathematician or something. But yeah, it's this simulation theory. I've been watching quite a bit of it. Well, obviously simulated reality or whatever. But I'll send you on that.
Yeah, no, it's
Glitch in the Matrix. Maybe do a little review of it or something. It's cool stuff. They actually have I think it's the EB synth, this new tech they're using for like changing, like say me and you are sitting here, right, and then you run this EB synth software, you take it into After Effects, you run an effect over it, and then re-import it, and it'd be me as a cartoon outline or whatever. So they've a couple of bits like that going on in it, where guys are yapping, but they'd be like a full cartoon, like knight, armored knight. But yet, every movement that they do, it's cool. Like, but Jeeves has been fucking around with some of the software, like doing a few little prototypes of like taking footage and cartoonising it. You know, like say the Drink Money kind of style outline.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not quite there, the tech there, but it's there a lot better than say when you're doing every step when you have to go frame by frame. Now you can do kind of one, and it will replicate it, and the AI within it will kind of, like if I turn my head, where with every step, say fucking something would have went out, you would have had to fix it. Now it will, if you give it this information when you turn, it will remove the ear on its own, so you won't have to go frame by frame. Like, it's pretty cool. He's done some stuff. I'll send you on a few pictures and all that he sent me, but yeah, the glitch in the matrix kind of use some of that software in it. That's pretty cool. But yeah, it could be worth a little. I'm noticing more and more since I've kind of looked into it a little bit. I'm finding more and more people talking about it. Do you know when you start getting that shit, like when you come across something kind of
not even
the theory, the simulation, but the actual the name of something.
Okay. Yeah.
The statement, you know what I mean? And you start noticing it, like say cancel culture, and you hear it once and you're like, geez, I never heard cancel, and then all of a sudden it's everywhere, and you know what I mean? So I had one of those moments with it. So, but I found the glitch in the matrix, cool little documentary, like.
So I'll send it on. We'll check that out. I was actually sent the documentary to check out. I haven't actually checked it out yet. It was about fucking what's the man's name from Mob Deep that died. Prodigy, yeah, I fucking forgot that. It went completely in my head. But actually, I had it in my head, and then when I started talking, it left me head. Prodigy from Mob Deep.
Yeah,
it's like a little documentary about him and like who killed him or something, or how he died. It's supposed to be very good. I haven't checked it out yet, but I was told to watch it before it gets taken down.
He got killed. Prodigy, did he not just die of ill health kind of thing? No.
Did he though, Tera? Did he though?
Is it some sort of conspiracy theory? I was never a huge Mob Deep fan, so I know they were big into kind of conspiracy.
Yeah, me either. But
I remember listening to him.
No, not me either, but it sounds interesting.
Yeah, he said Jay-Z was the one who introduced him to all conspiracy stuff and all, like, funnily enough. But yeah. Well, so it's meant to be a decent documentary, yeah?
Yeah, I'll send it around to you. I have it in my yoke. What you call it? It's supposed to be good.
I'll tell you another one I want to watch, actually. Is it the Free Britney documentary? One or two people.
Yeah, I heard
it's pretty decent.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, no, she was saying it was fucking. It was a bit mental. It was very sad. Like, same on anyway. Yeah, that's me sending him a message. Yeah, fucking
technology.
Yeah, supposed to be mental. And the dad took kind of full, conservative ownership of her or something like that. Like, and the elf was a bit of a degenerate, has always been a bit of a degenerate, was never around and all for most of it. And he's just going to come in and ascertain all our fucking wealth and rights and shit like that and all. It's supposed to be bleeding mental, like, I'm very sad. But again, it's all hindsight though. It's all hindsight because, like, as you were saying, it was like, it's terrible. Like when you look back at the way that she was being interviewed by like lettermen and stuff like that and all, the way they were talking to her, and it was like, yeah, but we couldn't notice that at the time. But that was part of the joke. That's what they are. Just these little fucking puppets that pop around and they can get paid millions of dollars and blah blah blah. But when you look back at it,
princesses, yeah.
But when you look back at today's standards or whatever, and it looks a lot worse than it did. I'm not saying it wasn't bad then. I'm just saying, like, it was obvious to some then that this was happening, But now when you look back at it now, everyone's going, "Oh my God, they treated her like so bad." And like when basically remember she nearly dropped the baby and she got fucking harangued by the public and the media. And then it turns out that she was fleeing paparazzi, and that's why the baby nearly fell. And it puts a different hindsight into it. I haven't watched it fully yet, but yeah, it is something I actually would watch myself. Like,
because there was like even Mariah Carey was looking into her, reading a story about her sister, and her sister talking about how they were fucking passed around at parties by their mother and all. You know what I mean? When they were kids, like, and you just like when you start, yeah. Back then, you did kind of know that these, like, yourself, you used to laugh and joke about it, like, but it was kind of like it's like that pedo around the corner. You know what I mean? You go, don't go near Joe now. You fucking disappear for a few hours and come back with your arse. You know what I mean? You joked about it, but it was true. You know what I mean? And that was the same. Like you're saying, you joked about fucking Britney. At the time, she was nothing but a puppet. Like she was a Disney puppet. That was knew quite well she was being abused and like fucking taken advantage of, and she couldn't sing or anything. You know what I mean? Like she was just a showpiece. Like. And you could see by how her life just was self-imploded or whatever, that was always going to happen to her. It happened to most of them, and you just went on about your business. But of course, when you see, you're saying when you look at it by today's standards, but I think more when you see the actual destruction of their lives, the abuse, when you see it firsthand, or when you get a more inside account of it. It is harrowing, you know what I mean? You're kind of saying that could be anyone, like, you know what I mean? And in a lot of cases, there's a lot of people that has happened to, like, that are even in media.
Oh yeah, there's loads. Yeah,
just to say,
definitely loads.
You made loads of money though, so like get on with it. You know what I mean? But like, what's money to someone who's a broken entity? Like, you know what I mean? What you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I wouldn't mind.
I don't think she's actually in the documentary though.
I can't imagine she was like.
Yeah, no, but I think, no, me either. I don't think she is, but no, it is. It's something I will check out. And send me that Matrix one as well. I'll check that one out as well, actually.
Yeah.
Because I was actually saying to her, because I was saying to her, right, I was trying to get you or even Jeebus on, because we were talking about, it was like he'll tell you about all like the Anunnaki and stuff like that and all. And it's all fucking, like, that's how ballsy, because she wants to see a conspiracy theorist documentary or podcast. Oh,
you need to get a specialist on, because like it's been a long time since I've done deep dives into a lot of the stuff, but I would have a working knowledge of a lot of them. I wouldn't be able to carry a show on the Anunnaki, but you start talking about like, yeah, sure, blah blah blah, this, that, and the other. But
I was saying about bringing Jeebus on for that, like.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to do it. You know what I mean? Just he's not.
Oh no, I know, but
Never been in
just
front
saying,
of the camera. He's always been behind it. But the thing, as I said to you before we came on here, is that the problem with conspiracy stuff now is what's the only conspiracy now is that people are out there willing to wear 3 masks and get an injection for something that will never kill them. You know what I mean? And be willing to have a vaccine passport to travel again. You know what I mean? All the other stuff, right? When you get into the likes of the Anunnaki and aliens and stuff, that is a little bit of the more fanciful stuff where you have to kind of dispel with reality a little bit or jump to conclusions on stuff, or you'll have certain amounts of evidence, but none of it is 100% conclusive. You have to kind of accept certain things or just be fantasy, you know what I mean? Say, well, look, let's just accept it is real. Now, these are the interesting things about it, you know what I mean? But a lot of the other conspiracies, if you start talking about like the Bilderberg group or
no, I was always saying, because I'm just saying,
like banking cartels and all.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's all. Like,
you've seen it all played out. Cashless society, vaccine identities. Like that's the shit. The shit Alex Jones talked about for 15, 20 years is all reality now. You know what I mean? So you can't deny any of it. Like the flat earth stuff is nonsense, really, isn't it? You know what I mean? So it was interesting. The one thing I will say is the flat earth kind of served the purpose in. I think it was a kind of a rethink for people. You had to come back to the board, right? Of right, everything I know up to this point, everything I believe to be true, every belief system I have, or how I imagine the world is, it's all open for debate now. It's all on the table. All cards are on the table. I can't believe anything now. This was the kind of mind frame that I think was the good thing to come out of the whole flat earth. Is like we don't like everything we think we know individually, we've been told by someone else. We don't have any answers individually. We accept other people's authority on certain things. We accept their credentials because you are such and such.
But there has to be a certain amount of trust, yeah.
I know, but you still have to, with the flat earth, I think you have to open up as like, unless I can 100% conclusively prove this for myself, then I have to be open to the acceptance that all bets are off when it comes to anything in terms of understanding what the world is that we live in. And then you walk back from it, and I think a lot of good information did come out on this proving that it's a flat earth, or maybe it's a domain or a realm or something. But it's still all on the table. If you take, say, what I just spoke about earlier, the simulation theory. Well, if the simulation theory is correct, well then it absolutely is a flat earth or a realm or a dimension or a globe. All of those things can exist at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, so like as dumb as the flat earth, some of the flat earthers are, the fact that it's used as such a derogatory term kind of annoys me a little bit. It's like, oh, you're one of them flat earthers or something. You know them usual, like, let's not have a discussion here because you're just one of them dumb anti-vaxxers. It became one of those terms that you just throw out to dismiss someone's argument. But I think the flat earth thing served the purpose in it got everyone to say, right, well, are we on a flat earth? How do I know? How do I know there's space out there? How do I know the sun is 300,000 miles away or 300 million? How do I know any of these things to be real? I have to take someone's word for it that they've worked out the calculation because they can't prove it. You know what I mean? Like a scientist sitting in a lab working.
No, like for me, it's more a case of like other scientists would disprove it.
Yeah, but what are they disproving it with? Stuff that you don't understand, so you have to take that word for it. No,
yeah, no, as I said, there is a certain level of trust.
Brought that to the table of you have to accept, right? You have to start from a point where everything we know to be true probably is not true. So I need to reassert what I know or believe to be true, like fucking belief in religion, like, you know what I mean? You have to suspend. Like there was a lot of holes in a lot of the things about the globe theory or space, and like a lot of people went trawling through all the footage from NASA, and it turns out
I can't believe there's a globe theory.
No, but there is no actual pictures of the Earth from space. That's been there's no denying that. There's composite pictures and CGI pictures, but there's no actual picture of Earth from space. So
what about the pictures of the astronauts doing the spacewalk?
But that's not a picture of Earth from space. That's a picture of space from space.
Well, like, you can see Earth, didn't it? Like,
if you were on the International Space Station, by the way, how far out it is and whatever, they can't take one picture of the Earth and show the whole Earth. So they've taken multiple pictures of it and built up a composition of what.
No, I get you. But like, if you go on to live on YouTube, right, there'll be a spacewalk on, right, and at a certain time or a certain turn, you'll see the top of the sphere at least then. So you can see that you won't get the whole.
Right, so you'll see the top of something. Or
and that's live on YouTube.
But what I'm saying to you is
That's live on YouTube.
Yeah, but there's no actual picture of the Earth. There's no full picture.
Well, there's one, but it's quite far away.
I'm only bringing, every picture of the Earth that you've ever seen that's supposed to be of space is a CGI. It's not a real picture. So there was lots of good arguments. What?
Not every picture. There is.
No, there's
I know
no picture.
one.
No, there's no.
No, there is. There's one satellite one that's.
Go and look.
No,
for
I know.
it.
Like, but this is argued on. This was
no,
argued on Joe Rogan.
I'm not arguing the for and against.
No, I understand. No, I know. But just that point, it was on Joe Rogan, and they were arguing, and it was found that there is a satellite that transmits like photos of the Earth. Now, it's not a clear composite green and all the lands, but it's quite far away. But it's like, that's Earth. You can see it. It's a circular ball, and it's like it pings a picture every fucking like 4 hours or something every day, constantly for the past 15 years. Like, so there is a picture of the Earth as a ball. It's just not as defined as the one you would if you Googled the Earth with all the green and all the outlines. You won't. There's none of that. But there is a physical picture of the Earth that is a ball. Like,
again,
and there's millions.
The point being that it forced people to go and have to prove everything, which was a good thing.
Yeah, but I think every conspiracy theory does that.
Not necessarily, because a lot of times they're dismissed, and you can't find, like, who killed JFK. Can you ever really know? Like, even if you have enough evidence, which even in the case of JFK, there was a court case. In the court case, some guy said, Mike Hunt was his name, said it was alluded to in a magazine that I was the killer of JFK, and that's defamation. And he lost his case. So, even though there can be enough evidence to convict someone, if something happened and you weren't there, how do you prove exactly what went on? And in terms of a conspiracy with multiple people involved and all that, it can be very hard to definitively prove stuff, but you can come up with enough evidence that can question things and poke holes in certain parts of the story and all that. That's kind of conspiracy stuff. With the flat earth stuff, you kind of got to a situation where it was like, right, blank slate, now we have to prove everything that supposedly we believe about the world to be true. And it went about that, and it forced people from both sides to say, oh, well, you're putting forward this argument, there's no composite picture of Earth from space. Well, actually, we do have, and here's the evidence. And that's good. You know what I mean? And I think the idea of, for a lot of people, certainly, that didn't get bogged down in the whole, right, you're a globalist, I'm a fucking flat earther, blah, blah, blah. People who just kind of jumped into it for the interest of it and all, came away from it with the, right, well, you know, I kind of need to apply this to everything. Like, if they're telling me this vaccine is safe, well, I can't just take their word for it because they're a scientist with a PhD that went to this fucking school and works in this lab and has this much experience. I need to investigate a little bit and come to my own conclusion as best I can. And it's taking a bit of responsibility about finding out information for yourself, which now they're telling you is a dangerous thing because you're too dumb to understand these things. And you need to just listen to what we tell you. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of people, if you got that out of it, well, that's a good thing. But the whole flat earth theory is bullshit. You know what I mean? In my opinion, unless you go to simulation theory, which then becomes not bullshit. You know what I mean? With that, and that was actually something that used to annoy me on the Joe Rogan show when you had, say, fucking Tyson on. What's your man? Fucking the physicist. What's his name?
Oh, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, yeah. So you'd have him on there, and he'd be making a mockery of the flat earthers, calling them dum-dums and all. And then he'd start talking to Joe about simulation theory and living in a simulation. And I'd be like, well, if you live in a simulation, what we know about simulations from video games and stuff like that is, as you move about the simulation, it will render stuff in front of you on a flat plane. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, but what he's saying about the flat earth though is,
see,
the thing about it is, right, so what I argue for him, he knows So he knows the maths and because again, he's not like me that doesn't know. I think someone
Of course, yeah.
word for. He understands the literature. He knows that the Earth is a globe. Simulation theory is still a theory that they're discovering.
Ooh, Red tries to defend Neil deGrasse Tyson, and it's usually when it's the other way around, the internet kicks out. You know what I mean? You're trying to prove a point against the globalists or something like that, but he's actually trying to defend it. He's took him out at the wrong time, boys. Anyway, we'll see if we can get Red back on here. If not, it's been an interesting show. I can end it off by saying that I am 100% correct in everything that I say. And Red is gone. We'll see if we can join him back in there. But yeah, I think for anyone interested, go and watch Glitch in the Matrix. Very interesting documentary. A lot of Elon Musk stuff in it. I know he's doing the Neuralink and stuff like that, but he's definitely pushing towards that fucking hooking up to the Matrix kind of thing, hooking up the computers, having these links in your brain. But simulation theory is quite interesting for anyone interested. I'd recommend that documentary. And we'll catch us again soon, hopefully. No point me going. You don't want to hear me ranting on. So catch us again soon. Cheers everyone for tuning in, supporting the show, and I'll add the links and all into the show there. You can go and have a look at merch and shit like that if you want to support us. And we'll catch us again next time. Take it easy.